There's been a lot of talk on Ravelry over the last week or so about a certain pattern that, I don't know, it's making everybody shake their heads a bit. But I'm here to tell you, these kinds of unusual patterns have been around for a while. Let's talk about it. Hello, my name is Trish, and this is episode 11 of WheelTrish Knits My Life in Yarn. If you're new here, welcome. Or if you've been hanging around for a little while, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here to join in the conversation. I've had a busy knitting week, knitting the same old project, but I can feel the end in sight. I've been working on the same knitted blanket for more than 6 months now, but I think I'm in the home stretch. I'm in the last color repeat, and I'm finishing up color 6 of 8 colors. And then once I finish the 8th color, I have a border to knit, and then I'm done. Given my usual pace for knitting, I'm thinking that this project might be done by the end of September. That's my goal, at least. So I'm glad you've hung in there with me on this whole thing. And boy, oh boy, won't we all be glad when I'm knitting something else for a change. Also this week, I got a little bit of happy mail from my local yarn shop, Fiber Space. They do have a limited selection of their in-stock products online, and they're happy to send things to you. And in this case, I got the new Sari Nordlund book called Foundations. This is a gorgeous book by Lina Publishing, and Foundations contains 20 patterns for all kinds of accessories to knit. Little hats and scarves and mittens and some shawls and even a couple of, I don't know what you would call them. I think she calls them knitted collars, but they're kind of like dickies that you can wear under a jacket or something. Anyway, the book is beautiful. It's beautifully photographed, and it's just such a pleasure to look at. Now, if you've been around a while, you've heard me say that I own a lot of knitting books, and I've never knit a thing from any of them. That's kind of true. I do have the Barbara Walker Stitch dictionaries, which I consult frequently, and I do use those stitch patterns, but in terms of books that have entire patterns from start to finish in them, it's correct that I don't think I've made anything from any of the books. But this one might break my streak, because there is a shawl in this book that I'm dying to make. It's one of those small shawls that can be worn as a bandana or as a little just thing around your neck. Kind of, it reminds me of the Sophie scarf a little bit, but it's a little bigger, and also it has a beautiful texture in it that I am just absolutely in love with. Um, Sorry Nordland came to my local yarn shop, Fiberspace, a few months back, and unfortunately, I didn't hear about her visit until after the classes were sold out. And I think that this particular scarf or shawl um, was one of the projects that she taught a class about because it looks a little familiar to me. I don't know if it was the same project or something similar that class was, but man, I would have loved to have been a fly on that wall, and I'm glad to have this pattern. It's called the Gable Shawl, and I just cannot wait to make it. It's going to be on my short list of things to do, along with some. I said I wanted to cast on a sweater this winter, and I think I am pretty much going to do the step by step pullover by Florence Miller, unless I change my mind, which of course is my prerogative. And we'll see what I cast on when I cast it on. But I'm not there yet because I have a giant blanket to finish, and I'm definitely going to do that first. Yeah. My friend Melissa from the podcast Melissa Knits for Fun, I just recently discovered her and discovered her podcast within the last month or so, and she's adorable and fun to watch. She did a little experiment this week or last week about, can I be monogamous? Can I just knit on one thing? And will I make a lot of progress so I can just be done with this project? And she discovered that she doesn't necessarily knit more on a single project if she knits on it exclusively than if she had several projects in rotation. So I gotta say, I think I'm the opposite because my pattern has been, if I start to get a little bored with what I'm knitting on, then the excitement wears off and I pick something else to work on, but then I wind up never going back to the thing I put down. So I've been kind of scared to try to work on anything else while knitting the blanket because I've been afraid that the blanket just wouldn't get done. But I think I'm going to try rotating projects again after the blanket is done to see if I can manage knitting a pair of socks and my first sweater, and also maybe that adorable little Gable shawl by Sorry Nordland. I am so excited to try a new adventure and see if Melissa's experiment will work in reverse for me. We'll see, right? So, on to the main subject of this week's podcast. Have you seen the pattern on Ravelry that everyone is talking about? Yes, I'm talking about the garment. The Garment by Robert Cole is a simple poncho, except it's not so simple because it's a floor-length poncho knit for a guy who is over 6 feet tall. So the poncho, even knit on bulky yarn, is enormous, and I cannot imagine making such a thing. But if you take a close look at it, you can see the garment is missing one very important thing. There are no armholes. Do you not need your arms, even while wearing the garment? Is there a reason why one's arms are trapped on the inside? How would one eat a snack, or knit, or read a book My goodness, I just can't imagine. Perhaps the whole purpose of the garment is contemplation, because really that's the only thing you can do while wearing it. My goodness, it's crazy. It's even knit from the bottom up. I cannot imagine casting on all those stitches and knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting some more until you're finally done. The pattern description says that he's working on a top-down version for all the people that have been asking for such a thing. I can't imagine even asking for such a thing. Are you planning to make the garment? I'm not. I can tell you that right now. I'm sure there are some people who find it fascinating, but I don't happen to be one of them. I just love to chuckle about the whole thing. Anyway, the talking about the garment over the last couple of weeks got me to thinking, you know, this isn't the first rodeo when it comes to unusual things you can knit. I've been a knitter for more than 20 years now, and I've seen a lot of things. And I'm betting I know of a couple that maybe if you've been knitting for less than 20 years, you missed them. Like, are you familiar with Knitty Magazine? It's an online publication that's been around since the very early 2000s. And in 2004, they did a bold thing and created an issue that is full of adult themed patterns, maybe? I don't know how else to put it, but the issue is still there. It's the summer '04 issue. And the one pattern that stuck out to me the most from back then, somebody knitted edible underwear. Yes, can you believe it? Edible undies. This chick took a pair of chopsticks and made knitting needles out of them and knitted with red licorice shoelaces. The name of the pattern is 302 calories, I guess because that's all the red licorice she had to use. I can tell you, if I was ever to make something like that to fit me, it would be way more than 302 calories. Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, I can't imagine ever making something like that myself. It was just fun to see and look at and laugh and imagine. Who would make such a thing? Did anybody make it? I don't know. I haven't looked it up on Ravelry to see if there are any projects listed. But the pattern predates Ravelry by several years, so who knows? Maybe by the time Ravelry came around, there wasn't much mention of this particular pattern anymore. The next shawl I'm thinking of is Color Craving by Stephen West. This is a giant scarf with giant holes all the way down the middle. What was he thinking? Let me tell you what. I think Stephen West is adorable and creative and certainly a lot of fun. But this particular pattern taught me to be a little wary of him because, man, sometimes you just never know what you're going to get. And I think I would generally like my scarves with a few less holes in them, don't you know? So, yeah. This was a silly little pattern that came out, and I can't remember if it was one of his mysteries or not, but it was definitely something that when I saw it, it gave me absolute pause. Yeah. Next on my list is a fun sweater called Warmthness by Jen Geigley. Yeah, how about getting your 90s girl on and knitting a sweater that reminds you of the singer Bjork? That's what Jen Geigley did when she designed this sweater that is anything but plain. It's full of not pockets exactly, just flaps. And they're kind of all over the sweater. And it definitely makes a huge statement. Um, she also says you can knit this sweater without the flaps, and it's a perfectly fine plain sweater, but the flaps definitely make it different. And I just have to say, you go, Jen, because it's definitely expressive of her personality, and um, it's fun and interesting, and I love looking at it. It's gorgeous. I love the color. But would I make it? Nah, probably not. Oh well. Um, but for Jen, it looks like it was a totally fun thing. She actually had a moment a few months ago where she wondered if she should remove the flaps, and I think overwhelmingly her viewers encouraged her to leave the sweater alone because it is definitely a statement that she made. And um, anyway, it's just fun. And yeah, but not for me. I just think it's artistic and lovely and so Jen. So that's what's special about it. Um, the last thing that is on my mind of the projects that are a bit unusual is something that I think maybe you should give it a try. Have you heard of the knitted knockers? If you haven't, let me tell you about them. Knitted knockers are um, breast inserts for individuals who have had mastectomy and they need a prosthetic to wear inside their bra. And they are made with soft yarns in various sizes and in all kinds of colors, but the most popular ones are the neutral skin tone colors, um, browns and tans and off whites and grays and things like that, so that they can be slipped discreetly into someone's bra. And they ask that you knit them or crochet them using some specified yarns, and you can send them to the organization, and the organization takes care of stuffing them so that they're sized properly, and they close them up for you. And then they get donated to a person in need who has had a mastectomy. And for a lot of people for whom the mastectomy is recent, the knitted knockers tend to be soft and more comfortable for them than some of the other commercially available breast prosthetics that are out there on the market. And so if you are ever so inclined, think about making a few of these and know that you'll be answering a need for a person that's going through a very vulnerable time. And so having something soft and lovely and very personal is a wonderful thing. Lastly, I have a honorable mention because it's not really knitting per se. It's kind of a one-off. And it's Stephen West again. Have you heard of Swants? What are Swants, you say? Swants are pants or leggings made out of sweaters. You can find sweaters at the thrift store and cut them up, and the sleeves become the leg holes, and then you cut them up and re-sew them in a few places, and turn them into pants. Now, when I first saw these, it was maybe 12 or 13 years ago. I was like, just because you can make something doesn't necessarily mean you should. And they definitely make a statement. It's a little unusual, maybe, but now that a lot of time has passed and I've kind of mellowed a bit on the subject of Stephen West and his boundless creativity, they're kind of fun. And he exuded so much joy while wearing them. And I couldn't ever imagine being bold enough to wear something like that. But they're kind of fun, and they definitely look pretty warm, so who knows? Maybe they are practical, or maybe not. I don't know. They haven't seemed to stand the test of time too much, but in case you haven't seen them, you need to check out a video called The Swants Dance. Trust me, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And it's so fun and so joyous. So go on over there and take a look on YouTube and see those beautiful pants in all the beautiful sweatery colors. How crazy could you make them? Do you have a sweater that you'd cut apart to do it? Or would you just run on over to your local thrift store and find something? Would you do it at all? Yeah, no, not me. But in a way, I'm kind of glad somebody did, because it gave me something to look at and be entertained by. So, yeah, I guess they were worth it on that score. And the Swants dance is just adorable. So go check it out. Anyway, that's about all I have to talk about today. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.